This is the new trend on the rise, the new 2021 hairstyle. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. Hi guys, before we get started, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. You guys, I am making sure that her hair is fully moisturized because we are doing the sew-in look. So as you can see that I split her hair in two sections, and I'm just going to braid down the back before I start with my sewing method. Try not to think too hard about the actual braid down. There's so many different techniques out there, you guys. The best advice I can give is to make sure that the braids are not super thick and chunky because you want your sew-in to look as flat as possible without feeling super bulky. So once you braid down, if you're doing the method I'm doing, you braid down all the way to the end and then you just connect it to the next braid. So she just told me, you guys, that she wants no hair left out because her hair is like a light brown. Her natural hair is like a light brown color, and the bundles are super dark, like jet black. So if you wanted to have hair left out, that little piece that I'm currently braiding, you will have that to cover the actual tracks. But because I'm not leaving any hair out, I'm just going to connect it to the rest, and then I will continue my sewing method just like that. So all I'm doing right now, you guys, is the last braid. If you did the method that I'm doing, you should have only one braid left. And that braid, I'm just going to make sure I sew it down. And with that same needle is what I'm going to use to start my sewing. And be sure to stick around, you guys, so you can see how I do the no hair left out. And of course, there's no closure involved. So yeah, this is the bundle we're using on her. It's like a loose wave. And we're using about a good bundle and a half to close to 2 bundles for the back. And the lengths are 24 and 22 inches. And if you can see, I am sewing it down a little bit low, so the 24 will appear to be a tad bit longer because we like extra, we like it long, and you know what I'm saying, just beautiful. And there's absolutely no cutting, you guys. So I am using what we call the folding method. And when you're doing the folding method, you just have to make sure that the crease is super flat and that, you know, you're sewing it in the right direction. So there's absolutely no reason to cut the bundle till you get to a point at the top where, you know, it have to make sense and you have to measure it. But other than that, as far as like cutting corners, you do not need to cut the bundle at all. Just use the folding method. So here we are at the top, you guys. If you wanted to have hair left over, remember you would just cover that track with the natural hair. But since we are not leaving any hair, what we're going to do is we're going to braid basically inside out upside down, however you want to look at it. If you see, I am standing directly in front of her to sew down that piece of hair. And what's going to happen is once we're done sewing that, I'm going to go back and sew in the actual braid. If you zoom in, you will see the actual braid that's left over. I'm going to add one more track on top of that, and then I'll be able to fold my hair over, and that's going to cover all my tracks. I just need a good flat iron or a good hot comb, and baby, you are all set. No hair left out. I just gave you guys the cheat code, okay? That is definitely a cheat code. So rewind if you have to. But yeah, if you are super natural and you don't want to leave no hair out, or your bundles is just simply not the color that, of your natural hair, yes, this is the method for you. Now look how brown her hair is comparing to the actual bundles, you guys. So if I was to leave some of her hair out, it wouldn't have made sense at all. You would definitely be able to see her natural hair. So to avoid that, we're just doing this method. Before we're completely finished, I'll just go back over it with a hot comb. But for now, you guys, we're making sure her edges are out. And if you've been on my page before, I like to section off the hair before I get to braiding. Only for me, it's a mental thing. It lets me know how many braids I'm going to do. And of course, it makes sure that all my braids are super even. So I highly recommend, regardless if you're experienced or inexperienced braider, always try to section your hair off first. It's super easier and it just makes your life. So yeah, you guys, I am starting to braid her natural hair first, and then I was slowly going to start to add the small pieces of hair. And of course, this is the feed-in method. So yeah, we're doing a few feed-in braids in the front of her head for her. This is the new look, you guys. This is the new style for 2021. Get into it. And just a quick FYI, I did not use cotton thread on her hair. I did use nylon, just so you guys know. And another thing that I just figured out, or I just mustered up in my head, I did do this style. I didn't get a chance to actually record it for you guys, but I did do this style on myself. But instead of the sew-in, I did clip-ins for the back. And honestly, I braid down my natural hair as if like I was going to do crochet, and then I clipped in the curly hair in the back, and it looks just like the style that I'm doing now. So whatever you're comfortable with, if you don't know how to do a sew-in, or if you just simply don't want to sew in, you can do crochet for the back, or you can do clip-ins. And we are almost at the finish line. Now time to slay all this good old baby edges she got. You guys don't forget to visit touchedbytiny.com for the best edge control out, okay? That is touchedbytiny.com. Better get you some. For the edges, I gave her a combination of the swoops and the little circles. So it's extra, but nothing too dramatic, because this hairstyle speaks for itself. So we don't have to do a whole lot, but a little bit of, goes a long way. Now that the slaying of the edges is done, we're going to add some of that Touch by Tiny hair mousse. And all that's going to do is keep all the flyaways down. And I'm also going to add some mousse to her hair since it's curly. So that's going to make sure that her curls are stacked or stay intact. She loves it. This is our final look, you guys. The mousse is still on there because she is in a rush, so we didn't have time to have her sit under the dryer. But this is the look. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. Until next time, peace and love.